Food Stories.
This is Food Stories.
This is Food Stories, a podcast from FareShare Greater Manchester.
A podcast from FareShare Greater Manchester.
A podcast from FareShare Greater Manchester.
Hello and welcome to Food Stories, a podcast from FareShare Greater Manchester. FareShare is a surplus food redistribution charity leading the fight against food poverty and minimising food waste in this part of the northwest of England. With Food Stories, we're showcasing not just the work we do, but also the amazing work being done by our community food members, the community groups and charities who get their food from us to serve their communities. This time we're visiting Emmie's Kitchen, a charity which delivers food and essentials to parents whose children are undergoing treatment at Manchester Children's Hospital.
We're trying to almost still have that element of nurture and really looking after parents, as well as them having access to food. And actually, just by working with FareShare, I think we know that each one of our bags is probably worth, on average, if we were to buy it, would probably be between £15 and £20 per week. As a small charity, that would never be sustainable. But what we've shown is that by working with FareShare and kind of diverting food that would have gone to food waste has meant that we're able to provide those bags on a weekly basis, which, you know, the feedback we get is, wow, I've had one of your bags, it makes such a difference. It's, you know, it's that thing, isn't it, when somebody gives you something, it's exciting, you feel valued, you feel, save me a bit of money.
Emmie's Kitchen is a real family affair. I went along to meet Jacqueline Narayan Singh and her daughter Eve to find out more about the charity. Eve began by explaining what had happened to her daughter Emmie.
We started after my daughter Emmie was diagnosed with leukaemia in 2017. So she was 8 at the time, and from that point we knew that she was going to have a very long treatment journey. So it's 2.5 years treatment. So we knew potentially we would be in hospital a lot. I guess we probably didn't understand the kind of the constraints and the reality of that. And I think at the time I was a bit of a kind of a very nervous, anxious parent, but I had my mum and Emmie, who was amazing. And I guess what happened then?
So, being a very nosy grandmother and spending a lot of time in the hospital, Emmie and I used to look at the other parents that were there, and we soon realised that the other parents weren't eating because there wasn't a lot of food about. Lots of people lose their jobs, lots of people just can't afford to eat in hospital because it costs about £35 a day to eat there.
People come from a long way away as well.
So they're not from Manchester, a lot of people. And at the time I was running a project called Real Food with Insure and also running with Insure Food Bank. So Emmie knew that I had access to lots of food, so I used to bring in spare food for people in the hospital and used to be waiting for it.
Is your mum coming tonight? That's what they used to say to me, and I'd be thinking, what's my mum done here? Like, is your mum coming? I was like, she might be popping in a bit. And then she'd turn up with a
trolley full of food. So we used to fill the cupboards in the community kitchen with soup and beans and stuff. If we had extra other bits and pieces from FareShare, we'd bring that as well. So Emmie said to me at that time, well, Gran, really what we should be doing is cooking a meal for the parents. And so from there, I don't know how we managed it, but from there, and when I think about it now, Emmie was still in the first year of treatment.
Still in really active treatment, so kind of she was diagnosed in September 2017, and by June 2018 we had our first session of Emmie's Kitchen, which, yeah, I was still like rocking in a corner. But we came, I mean, and Emmie came to the first session, and it was kind of at Ronald McDonald House. We'd worked in partnership with them in terms of we were going to provide a meal, a free course, three-course meal for parents staying at the hospital. And we kind of, initially, it was very much just for oncology parents. That was our starting point. And I think in that first session, we got probably about 28 parents come across and eat. And I guess we were just testing the waters slightly. And we had a small team of volunteers. We had soup to start, and then some curry, and crumble was always a favourite, crumble and fruit salad. And it was a real kind of a really nurturing session in lots of ways, and it felt like, oh, this is maybe something that's really needed. So it carried on like that and built.
We just decided that in that time that the parents were going to be with us, that we were going to really look after them, that they didn't have to stand up, they didn't have to come and bring their pots back to us. We were just going to look after them. So what we did with the people that were our volunteers was we kind of passed that message to them, and each of the volunteers would take it upon themselves to look after a family.
To sit and talk, get them their dinner, you know, just be on hand to really kind of listen and to nurture and to value those parents. And I think what we got from those sessions was that people wanted to talk as much as be looked after, and to have something that felt like it was a homemade meal, that felt kind of something really homely about it. And really, I mean, we're a family, and it felt like it was really family orientated. And you know, that those sessions developed into having we would have some L'Oreal products there. We would have people who would entertain the children in terms of in the same kind of area, but have activities for the children so that parents could relax a little bit. And I think what we found was it was other people that started coming to those sessions as well as parents. So it would be grandparents, it would be aunties, it was who was visiting them on that night, and that gave them a little bit of just time in a non-clinical environment, which almost felt normal to some extent. And I think what happened throughout that time is that people built relationships with us and our volunteers as well. So, and that went on pretty much from 2018 monthly to March 2020. And I think our last session like that in March 2020, we probably fed over 300 people on that one session, because the demand was so much then at the time that we knew that there was people that would come out of the hospital to come to the session. But we also had a takeaway trolley as well that would go to the ward for the parents that weren't at a point that they could leave their child. So it was almost like, and it worked, and it was a really valuable and good kind of, it made everybody went away from those sessions feeling we've done something that's made a difference. But actually parents always fed back that for them it was just a bit of a break from that monotony and that kind of clinical decisions and hostile environment. I think people don't really appreciate how hostile being in hospital can be for that long period of time. You're sat 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in a bay with other people who you don't know, and doctors are coming and telling you really vital information that you've potentially got to make a decision about or is really life-changing. But a lot of the time what we found was parents weren't fed, they'd not had a wash, they weren't feeling at their physical best or their mental best to be able to kind of make those decisions or take that information on board. And it was almost like, who helps them to process, who helps them to, and we found that probably not many people, and it's not really part of the NHS offer to look after the parent, because they're giving your child the absolute best clinical care that they can. But we know the NHS is stretched. We know that kind of people don't have time to sit and talk or help you to understand or to kind of, so it almost felt that the gap was bigger than just a meal. So that's our kind of logo and our kind of strapline is we're more than a free meal, because actually it's so much more than just feeding somebody. And I guess it really kind of came home more, and Emmie finished treatment in 2019, so literally she completed her treatment, rang the bell 2019, December. And we'd had our Emmie's Kitchen up until March 2020 before then the world changed and we went into COVID.
During the pandemic, the service provided by Emmie's Kitchen was needed more than ever. Parents staying at the hospital with their children found their access to food severely restricted. It was harder to get food from outside, and within the hospital, concessions closed down. COVID restrictions meant that communal family areas where parents could make a hot drink or heat a microwave meal were closed to reduce the risk of infection. And support bubbles meant only one parent was allowed in the hospital to stay with a poorly child, and no visitors could come in from outside. What was already a very difficult situation for parents was made considerably worse.
The hospital actually reached out to us, and it was Ward 86, which is the oncology ward, which said, look, what can you do? Is there anything? Could you think outside the box in terms of these parents are just going stir crazy now. This is like nobody's eating, nobody's having any visitors. There's no escape. And I think it was at that period that we kind of then said, right, let's see what we can do as far as Emmie's Kitchen and what we can do to support. And we started a Friday night takeaway. So we approached lots of local businesses who were all really struggling. It was COVID. People, we were going through lockdowns, but I think we were in a period where there was that community feel as well, and that people really wanted to help and do something. So we approached lots of local restaurants and takeaways and kind of put to them that we would pay for the food, if they could give us a little bit of a discount, and that we would deliver meals to the hospital, which again started off small, has grown, but also at the same time that we were going to do snack bags for parents. So we then started to work really closely with FareShare, because we were we were going to create, it was 80 snack bags, and it stayed at that number really from the very beginning, that we would be able to take in kind of the basic snacks that parents might need just to keep them going over a weekend or whilst they were in hospital. So our bags generally have drinks, crisps, cereal bars, soup, noodles, and it's chocolate, fruit, which kind of then allow that it's almost like it's another way to save that little bit of money, but also to let those parents know that somebody knows that they're there and that they matter and that they're valued. And I think we've grown continuously from that. So we still do, even though we are now 4 years post-COVID, we still do our Friday night offer. We still do our snack bags. We also do wellbeing sessions for parents, which are probably more similar to what we used to do in terms of Ronald McDonald House, and providing a non-clinical environment and a time for people to come and relax. And we offer massages, some sound healing, so we're trying to almost still have that element of nurture and really looking after parents, as well as them having access to food. And actually, just by working with FareShare, I think we know that each one of our bags is probably worth, on average, if we were to buy it, would probably be between £15 and £20 per week. As a small charity, that would never be sustainable. But what we've shown is that by working with FareShare and kind of diverting food that would have gone to food waste, has meant that we're able to provide those bags on a weekly basis, which, the feedback we get is, wow, I've had one of your bags, it makes such a difference. It's, it's that thing, isn't it, with somebody gives you something, it's exciting, you feel valued, you feel, oh, saved me a bit of money. So it's been
interesting. It's been interesting. I think we never thought at the beginning, and I certainly didn't, we were pretty naive, I have to say, that we didn't understand the need, because the need is massive. I was really shocked when Emmie first went in hospital, because I was kind of thinking, there's going to be loads of support for Eve, and actually there's very little support. And I thought, oh no, we're going to have to provide the support. And also we've kind of come to a point now where we think, well, actually, we've grown this thing and we could really develop it really, much bigger, and we could probably deliver something every night at the hospital. But, we're just a small family that is doing this with a couple of extra friends. We are bringing some of our volunteers that were with us before back in now for the wellbeing, so they can get back involved because they're really great and
really get it. So I think that's the other thing is that we've really noticed is that people want to help, and for those people who really kind of either have had lived experience or they've known somebody else that's been in hospital, or and I think for them people it's that kind of being able to kind of give something back in a way that's probably not as obvious to other charities, because it's a really hidden community. It's a community that nobody wants to think about, because to be fair, I wasn't in that community the day before Emmie was diagnosed, and I think that's the difficulty is that people, it's too hard to think about those people. I think we've learned, and I think the biggest shock to us is that children are in hospital for a really long time, and so we know that there's lots of people who go in and out of hospitals for, they might have to have the tonsils out, or they might have broken the leg, but actually we've known families that have been there for the full 6 years that we've been doing Emmie's Kitchen, and we've got a really good relationship with them. They know us, they know that we're coming every Friday, they'll stop and talk. But even just from doing the wellbeing, I think the majority of the parents that come to those sessions are long-term parents who are in for well over a year, upwards to 2 years, and actually are really valuing having that time out and just having familiar faces that come and
actually getting to know other parents, because parents in the hospital don't cross over, so you never really get to know other parents, and
on different
there might be people there that could be a really good ally or a friend for you. So that's what the wellbeing does, is other people meet each other. So and that's what happened at Emmie's Kitchen originally, wasn't it? So that was something we wanted to get back to, that they could kind of be friends, because they're going to be there for a long time, so they've got to set up some kind of friendship system across
build
there.
them community links, because it's its own community, but often it's really hard to look beyond, because you're not from, if you're not from Manchester, you wouldn't necessarily know what's in the local vicinity in terms of accessing services or food, and that's what you find is then often people are looking inwards to the hospital, but actually it's kind of what is beyond that. And I guess there's a little bit of us, we're kind of proper Manchester family who have lived here forever, have worked in kind of lots of public services, and it's almost like, how do we link those services back in to the hospital, so that we're really recognising that they are people and they are important people, and that they need support.
Times two in a few of them.
So two of those,
two of those, one of those.
Even Jacqueline invited me along to one of their Friday night takeaway evenings to see Emmie's Kitchen in action. The first job of the day was to prepare snack bags for parents, much of the contents of which come from FareShare Greater Manchester, and it's brought to Emmie's Kitchen HQ by Emmie's granddad Mike, who's also one of our volunteer delivery drivers.
That one and that one is two then.
Yeah, okay.
Those are the dates, like short.
We are packing the bags in terms of snack bags, so we are putting in each bag has got a bottle of water, a small drink, a protein drink, Starbucks protein drink with coffee, 2 saurine bars, another cereal bar and some jelly, and then they'll also get some noodles and some bread, and then we'll do fresh fruit as well and a packet of crisps. So we'll make 80 of these up for parents in the hospital, so then they've got snacks for over the weekend.
What do you do on a Friday then generally?
So we will set up in here in terms of getting everything ready to pack into the bags. So we will pack these bags, and then we then go and collect the hot food. So somebody else will come. So my husband will come, collect the bags to take them to the hospital, and then me and Claire will go to Leon to collect the hot food tonight, and then we will deliver that to the hospital as well. So hopefully we all end up at the hospital at the same time, or round about the same time, don't we?
Yeah.
what we're doing now.
Right, so we are now on our way to Leon in Piccadilly, and they have prepared our meals that we've ordered, and then we're going to take them and drop them at the hospital. So Steve has taken his car with the snack bags in, and he'll then distribute them across the hospital to the wards and to family support. Tonight we're going to Ronald McDonald House, and the meals are going to go to parents who are staying in there, which we do once a month. And then Riz has also taken some ambient food crates for families in Ronald McDonald House as well. Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. So we've just been to Leon.
Yep.
At Piccadilly. What
Yep.
have we got?
We've got 52 meals. Actually, yeah, we've probably got 60 meals tonight, and they're all individually ordered. So they've ordered anything from a chicken burger. They'll get fries with the chicken burger or a rice box. So they've got either, being the time of year, they've got a turkey Christmassy man curry, and they've got a Christmas wrap. We've got a halloumi wrap, and we've got a chicken aioli box as well. And then we've got a vegetarian option of golden dal and rice. So the parents have all individually ordered their meals. The staff in Ronald McDonald House have collated them, sent them all over to me, and then we're going to deliver those meals to Ronald McDonald House.
Once the takeaway meals had been delivered to Ronald McDonald House, we went across to Manchester Children's Hospital to deliver another meal to a parent who wasn't able to leave their child's bedside. Once we were inside, we bumped into Barbara Manley from Family Support at the Children's Hospital, pushing a trolley filled with the treat bags from Emmie's kitchen.
What does this mean to the families?
Honestly, it's invaluable to them, because some families sit there all day, but some won't leave the children. They find the children cry when the mums try and go to the shop. So them families, they might not have anything to eat. They might have a piece of toast in the morning and then during the day. So these bags are a lifesaver to them. They really appreciate them. Yeah.
And what about Emmie's kitchen in general?
Oh, just honestly, I've known Eve and Emmie and Steve for about 5 years, and without fail, whatever weather, whatever they're up to, they never failed. Every week, hot food, all the goodie bags, and then at Christmas they bring all like pyjamas and toiletries. It's just amazing what they do. Yeah, we can't thank them enough.
That's it, done then. The deliveries are all done for today.
Yeah, all done. Everybody at Mac House will have got their dinners tonight, whereas next week we will deliver to Ward 86, HDU and ICU, stem cell and the bone marrow wards. And so yeah, same again next week, but we'll have Jelani's.
It was so lovely to see the reaction of people when you're arriving with the food. It's obviously very much appreciated.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, that you get people who are waiting for it week on week, so it does feel like it's a service that's much needed in the hospital. And I think you experienced then, it's that kind of just giving a bit of value to parents and acknowledging that they're there and that they're struggling. So I think, yeah, it's a worthwhile Friday night, even if it's raining.
Work with Emmie's Kitchen isn't just limited to Friday night takeaways and wellbeing sessions. There's also the need to raise funds to pay for the takeaways and the food from FareShare Greater Manchester. In addition to this, Eve, Jacqueline and Emmie herself work to help other families facing long hospital stays elsewhere.
Other people now say to us, well, we would like you to do that in our hospital. And people contact us from lots of different hospitals saying, can you come and do this in our hospital? But we know we can't do that in different hospitals, but they could do it in their hospital. So Eve sits on lots of different groups, national groups, talking to people, and that's what we're trying to push out there, because there is other charities doing.
And I would say that there's a lot of so our model has been used in other areas, and I think people are learning if we talk to each other and we kind of, as a charity and talking to other charities, and you'll find that it's often parents who are setting up charities who have got lived experience or a reason that has prompted them to do this, that we find that that by building a bigger network of us, that actually we're stronger as a group rather than just individuals doing what we do, and actually learning other lessons, on what the other barriers are. And we've been really fortunate at RMCH in terms of that the hospital and the nursing team, we're reliant on that. They take all, in terms of our orders, we send an individual menu for every parent, and the parent orders what they want. We don't turn up with a stack of margarita pizzas. People can say, all right, well, I would like a meat feast today, or I'd like a kebab, or I'd like fish and chips. So in that sense, we rely on the hospital to have the staff to put those things in place, because I can collate the orders, but I don't have the facility to then get the orders from the parents. And I think that's what we learnt through COVID, was that this was us as a team in terms of Emmie's Kitchen, but actually we've got a much bigger team in terms of the hospital staff and the family support workers in the hospital, and the housekeepers, the auxiliary nurses, the matrons. Everybody had to buy in to what Emmie's Kitchen were doing. And I think for me, the units, so ICU, so intensive care, paediatric intensive care and high dependency unit, they have really, really ran with Emmie's Kitchen in terms of that they're probably a ward that are really forgotten. It's not sexy, it's not a kind of, people don't want to think about those children who are probably in very life-threatening conditions, and they don't get any support. So when we turn up on a Friday, they're matrons and they're like, oh, this is amazing. And they're very appreciative, because they are not on anybody's radar. So, and it's a bit of a cliche, but we know that the oncology ward are on radars, because kids with cancer probably sell, bald heads. It's very outwardly kind of something that people go, oh, and it's visible and people can kind of comprehend. But actually in other places in the hospital, there's lots of other conditions. So we don't just do it for oncology anymore. We do it for RMCH and for the whole hospital, to kind of think everybody in that hospital is going through a really, really difficult and traumatic time. I think we can't do this without kind of giving a bit of kudos to Emmie, though, because Emmie is our driving force, and Emmie's 15 now and is our
force of nature, and really pushes us to be the best in terms of Emmie's Kitchen. She is pretty much involved in most sessions. She's involved for all the bagpacking. She's a volunteer at the wellbeing sessions. She provides something that none of us can do, because in hospital you don't really ever see well children who have been through treatment. You just see sick children. So actually Emmie's really vital in terms of providing that hope for other parents. So, and she is kind of committed and wants everything done in a particular way, and she drives the quality. She has a real eye for detail. She doesn't let us get away with anything, basically. And yes, so when we go out and do talks, she will come out and do a presentation as well. We'll have a notepad and she'll come with her PowerPoint and deliver this really great, presentation about
she's
about
passionate.
Yeah,
she's passionate, and I think that she's seen kind of how, like, kind of from her idea that this it feels big. This massive thing has grown, and the gap has grown, and in terms of, oh wow, so we are committed to doing that. We do that as a family, and it has become massively part of us as a family.
We'd like to say a huge thank you to Eve, Jacqueline and the rest of the Emmie's Kitchen team for sharing the story of their work with us for this podcast. If you'd like to find out more about Emmie's Kitchen's work, you can find their links in the show notes for this episode. And if you've been inspired by what you've heard and you'd like to find out more about FareShare Greater Manchester and the work we're doing to support charities and community groups across our city, please take a look at our website to find out how you can support us through food donations, financially, or by volunteering your time to support our operation. If you've enjoyed listening to this episode, please share it with anyone you think would like to hear it too. And if you're able to, please leave a rating and review on the podcast app where you're listening, and that'll help other people find out about food stories from FareShare Greater Manchester. Until next time, thank you very much for listening.